So I remember when the vote came out, my friend wore her lucky socks and my other friend wore their lucky stuff. And I remember the exact classroom where they said yes. I remember celebrating and screaming. I remember running out of my classroom and talking about it.
Yep.
That vote, yes. Oh, I just teared up when you mentioned it. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Hi, my name is Kelsey. I'm 20. I use she, her pronouns. And today I'll be interviewing Kelly from the Yarra Rangers. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Kellie. My pronouns are she, her. I work at Yarra Rangers Council in the Community Partnerships and Wellbeing team, and I look after the grant programs.
Cool, nice to meet you. So my first question is, what does it mean to you to be open and out in your community as a queer identifying person?
It's pretty important to me because I feel been around for a while, and it's been a long time since I came out, probably showing my age a little bit, but about 25 years ago. And I think it's important for us to be who we are in the community so that we can, I guess, be the face that might encourage someone that's young and struggling to be okay with who they are. Yeah, I feel a bit of a personal responsibility getting a little bit older to pay back and just remember the people that helped me many years ago on my journey.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's always good to have role models. Were you alone when you came out, or did you have friends and family supporting you?
I was really fortunate. I had friends and family around me. I grew up in a small country town, so I grappled with my journey, but I was really, really fortunate. I had some really tight friends, and my family have been really supportive as well. So I do feel a little bit blessed. So yeah, I wasn't on my own. I had a bit of a crew around me. So.
That's really good. What do you wish you knew before you came out?
Oh, so many things. I guess with everything, when you're young, you think you can conquer the world, and I guess you can be a little bit selfish at times, and you think it's all about yourself. But I do wish I'd sort of had a little bit more of an understanding of the big wide world and the challenges that come along with being open. I'm pretty proud to say that it's changed a lot since back in those days, and I think it's changed for the better. And it's, I guess it's a lifelong journey with anything. It's not necessarily about being gay, straight, or whatever you identify with. It's just being comfortable and going easy on yourself, I guess, and not putting too much pressure on you and where you are in your journey. And yeah, it's a lifelong process. You don't come out once. You come out your entire life, and new groups of friends and new workplaces, and with that comes different experiences and different responses, and you get more comfortable with it, I guess. What's the old saying? Practice makes perfect. So just go with the flow. Yeah.
That's really good. What advice would you give your younger self or any young person finding or struggling with their queer identity?
I guess, again, just don't be too hard on yourself. I guess we can all fall into the trap of sometimes overanalyzing and internalising things, and I think it's just important to be who you are and be authentic and stay true to your values. And yeah, it can be scary at times, but that's life in general. And just don't take things too seriously, and know that there is a tomorrow. And if you're having a pretty crappy day today, like with anything, that tomorrow might be better, and just have that hope and understanding that there are people out there that can support. And yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Yeah.
What's the best part of being a visible LGBT member in your workplace or your council?
Well, a lot of people at my workplace may not know. I'm proud of who I am, but I must admit I go under the radar a little bit. I'm not a loud out there person, just in general. I just go about my business, and I guess I don't hang my hat on identifying a particular way. I identify as myself, and I've done that my entire life. And whilst I'm open and proud, yeah, this might come as a surprise to some people where I work. And I've had a number of roles over the years, and I guess I've just gone about my business and been honest with my personal life and my interests, and it comes up in conversation. It's never doesn't tend to be a big deal, and that's just the way I approach things. Yeah.
That's right. So going off that question, what was it like coming out in a professional setting, if in those situations that you say you might have or you did in casual conversation?
Yeah, pretty cruisy. Sometimes it's interesting because I tend to worry more about how it will be for others and less about how it is for me. Because I've done it so many times and had so many different experiences, I don't tend to predict what might happen. I just go with the flow, and my concern is how other people might react, because sometimes people are quite surprised. Sometimes people have said to me, "I don't believe you," and it's like, well, this is interesting. Let's unpack that a little bit. And sometimes people have asked people close to me if it's okay for them to discuss things with me, and I'm pretty cruisy and relaxed, and I encourage people to ask me questions, because that's an opportunity for me to break down assumptions, and perhaps, open up their eyes to something they hadn't considered before. So generally speaking, it's quite cruisy, and sometimes it has been quite nerve-wracking for the person because they don't want to make me feel uncomfortable, but I'm totally fine with it. So once we have that discussion, it's fine. Then it becomes part of the furniture, and it's really no big deal. So yeah.
Sounds like you're very confident in your identity. It's really cool. Okay. How do you cope with the anxiety around your sexuality about not being queer enough?
That's probably the most interesting thing that I've experienced. Again, it's not a personal anxiety that I feel for myself. It's more for how people react, because I've had so many experiences during my life where people make assumptions, and a classic example, recently we had a tradie doing some work at our home, and we had to lug some rather heavy stuff around, and I said, look, I'll get my partner to help. And he goes, and it was no fault of his own, he just made an assumption. Oh, so yeah, you'll get your husband to help you with that. And it was quite an awkward conversation, not for me, but for him, to sort of say, well, I have a wife, and he didn't know what to do. And it was a really difficult space to hold, because I kind of felt sorry for him because he had made that assumption. So it's more for me about worrying about other people. And I think that comes back to growing up in a small country town. It's very polarising at times, and I used to worry more so and have anxiety about my family and my friends and how this would affect them. So but again, it's been a while, so you get better with age, I guess. Yeah, and it gets easier with age. Yeah.
Were there any mechanisms or tactics that you used to help cope, or ways that you made the discussion easier for yourself or for the other person?
Yeah, I tried to be as obvious as I could. Again, I'm quite a private person, so without sort of, being just saying it out loud, but at times I've had to, because the message or the subtle messages that I've been trying to convey to avoid an embarrassment for the other person, sometimes that hasn't been possible, and I've had to spell it out because they're just not aware. And again, that word assumption keeps coming back because it's something that I've encountered pretty much my entire life, and that's why it's really important to give back to our younger people and be out there so that people can see that we represent lots of different images and lots of different walks of life and experience, and that's the beauty of life, and having a variety of people represent, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, there's diversity in our own community, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What does the term chosen family mean to you?
Chosen family, I guess, is the vibe in your tribe, the people that are around you. I mean, there's a saying, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and I'm pretty lucky. I've got a chosen family, but I've also got my real family, and if I had to choose a family, I'd choose them. So I'm very, very fortunate. My mum, my dad, and I've got 3 sisters as well, and I'm really fortunate to have both friends as chosen family, but also my real family as well. So, yeah.
Cool. What do you enjoy most about your life now?
I guess when you get a little bit older, you don't care so much about what people think, and I'm really fortunate that our life now, we live in the beautiful Dandenong Ranges. We've got our little fur family, we've got 2 dogs, 4 chickens and a cat, and we're surrounded by some really wonderful people, dear friends that we've had for a number of years, and we just love travel when we can. We're looking forward to getting back out and travelling, and we just like connecting with community, and not just the gay community. We have a little bit of a joke sometimes that we're probably the non-gayest people in the village, because we just go about life, and our local community in the hills is very supportive, and we just love life and the adventures that it takes us on, and yeah, we try not to sit in little boxes. We like to get out there and be adventurous, take risks, and just have a bit of fun. It's all about fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. What places in the community do you wish existed to make you feel safer when you were younger and coming out?
That's a really good question, because back in the day when I was younger, I'm making myself sound like a dinosaur, but back in the day, there wasn't really much in our small town, and I guess looking at what's available for young people now, like even drop-in centres, and it was very sport where I grew up. It was very traditional. You know, the girls played netball in the winter and tennis in the summer, and the boys played footy and cricket, and so I guess that provided an outlet for us to a certain extent. But yeah, just places where like-minded people could get together. That's not something we had. So I'd definitely say, yeah, look, just youth drop-in centres and things where you could connect with your tribe and create your tribe, and yeah, that would be an area I'd like.
Yeah. It's really cool. I feel like sports made a lot of difference to a lot of queer people nowadays, and it's more welcoming. It's really cool. In what ways has council made you feel welcome as an LGBT member?
I remember when I first started, so I've been with council coming up to 3 years, and the same-sex marriage debate was on, and I'd accepted the job, and I was actually overseas. I'd organised a trip, so we were overseas, and I remember coming back, and there was nothing but flags and stickers and posters, and I walked in and I went, wow, it's a progressive workplace. I feel comfortable there, and it's just been a non-issue, and yeah, I'm very fortunate in our immediate team. We've got a very supportive team, and yeah, nothing seems to be off the table, and I can basically bring my authentic self to work every day, and I don't think I can ask for much more than that. And I've been fortunate over the last probably decade. I've had a number of workplaces where I felt the same, and you just don't feel so alone. You know you're not alone, and yeah, that's a nice feeling to go to work and feel that you're one of the crew. So yeah,
It's always important to have a safe space in a workplace.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Do you feel a sense of community in your workspace?
Yes and no. Like my idea of community spans much more broadly than the queer community. Even the word queer for me is not a word that resonated, like we didn't use that back in the day. So it's an ongoing journey for me, and it's exciting to see the young people come through our workplace and hear those conversations, because I'm constantly learning. But yeah, for me, community is all of community, and I guess it just comes back to my approach of not segregating and not putting things in boxes. I've always been a little bit of a renegade in a sense that if there's a box, I like to break it. I like to break down those barriers, and yeah, that it's something I'm constantly reflecting on, because community to me means everybody from all walks of life, and yeah, so in that sense, there is a sense of community at work.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of young people struggle with that in their identity, that they feel they have to put themselves in a box. But I think it's also very important that we also remind ourselves that gender and sexuality is also a spectrum and you don't have to put yourself in a box. So it's really cool that you're fighting to break those barriers.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Do you find yourself as a role model for the LGBT people you work with?
Yes and no. I certainly don't try to be one. Again, I just go about my business. But we've had a couple of experiences of late where people have approached me and said, "I've never thought of things that way before, and you've brought that to my attention." In previous roles, more so, working with younger people, and but again, not going out of my way to be the poster girl, for lack of a better term, but just by being myself and trying to live by a set of values that are important to me. And that seemed to resonate with the young people to say, well, look, you know, there's hope and there's opportunity, and we all come from different corners, and just, yeah, that's essentially, yeah.
I wanted to ask a question as well. Who was your role model when you came out? Did you have a role model?
Yeah, I did. I had I finished my studies here, and then I did a 12-month exchange. I travelled and packed up the bag, and all of my friends were heading off to uni, and I travelled, and I had a teacher over in Canada that was very instrumental in the process, and was very, very supportive. And yeah, we're friends today, and it was quite formative. And again, I guess I've modelled my journey a little bit on hers. She went about her business, and there was no real song and dance. It was just who she was, and yeah, she was a real role model for me, and I'm very grateful to have had her. But I've also had my family as well. Like, my mum is incredible, and my dad and my sisters have been there as well, and it's been quite a journey for them as well, but they're role models for me. So yeah, and my grandparents, who are no longer here with us, but yeah, one of my grandparents in particular was a real supporter. Yeah.
It's really cool. Seem to really love your family. How did they react when you came out, if that's not too personal?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag. You know, again, coming from a small country town, but again, it was a journey for us, and I sort of went into protection mode a little bit for my family, and yeah, it's been interesting, but I think it comes down to you know, I've had my partner, we've been together now for, well, coming up to 2 decades, which is a long time. And I think them getting to know her over the years has really sort of shown that it works, and it's real, and it's genuine. And I think by keeping true to who you are as well is less confusing for everyone around you. So it's certainly been a journey. But I wouldn't have chosen to have it with anyone else. I know I rave about my family, but they're fabulous. So yeah,
it's very cool. So there's a couple final questions.
Sure.
What makes you proud?
So many things, but I'm just proud to live in a society that's coming along, and I'm proud to know, particularly with the same-sex marriage debate, we didn't feel it was too. We didn't feel it would matter to us, because we'd been married 10 years prior, and the debate came along, and we didn't realise how much it would mean to us until it was actually happening, and see what was going on, and the number of proud moments that we had living our authentic lives and helping to open other people's eyes about that this is not a popularity vote, this is actually people's lives, and this will affect me, and putting a face to the issue made me feel really proud, because there were moments where it could have gone either way, and we genuinely felt that. And when we came out the other side of it, I was really proud to be an Australian. I know that sounds quite soppy, but I was really proud. It had taken a long time, but very, very proud. And we decided after the fact to get married again, and we had most of our guests from the first go at the second one, and it was one of the proudest days of my life because, the love in the room, it was palpable, and just really, really proud to be an Aussie at that time. Yeah.
What message would you like to give queer young people?
Go gently. Take your time. Life's one big journey, and don't be too hard on yourself, and surround yourself with people that are supportive, and don't take things too personally, because with anything in life, things don't always go to plan, and sometimes that works out for the best. If a door closes, another one will open, and yeah, don't take life too seriously. Like it can be a real adventure, and take risks and challenge yourself, and to be uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to life's pretty short, and have fun along the way, and value those relationships. But yeah, don't take yourself too seriously would be my number one piece of advice. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Okay.